Welcome to Matters Podcast, where we have unfiltered conversations about the that really matters.
Welcome to Shit Matters Podcast. I'm your co-host, Michael Burst, alongside Josh Brandon and Kenny. And today we have a very special guest. He brought his own fat head along with him, Mr. Michael Hammond Jr. Welcome, Mike. Welcome, Mike. Good evening, gentlemen. Cheers.
Thanks for having me.
Cheers.
I'm excited.
What's going on, y'all?
Thank you, listeners. As always, please like and subscribe and share the episodes as you listen. So today we have somebody here who is a very well-established individual in his field of real estate, but also has a background in the auto space as well. So it's high-level details of who Mike is. He grew up primarily in the car business. His family owns Conicelli Auto Group. I think I said that right. It's not Conicelli, it's Conicelli. He moved from that and got into real estate. Became very, very good in real estate. I believe you became highest producer, if I heard that correctly, in Philly a few different times. All right, great job on that.
Non-stop. Yeah, thanks.
Say nonstop?
Yep.
Look at that.
Always
Non-stop. If you want a house in Philly, go to Mr. Michael Hammond. Oh, and I heard Josh sell houses too on the side.
Yeah.
I'm on his team. I'm on Mike's team.
Look, Josh do everything. He GM. He the president. He the
He's a realtor. He's got a buy sell right now going on. So I was actually at a dealership all day today. So I'm not out of the car industry. I'm fully in the car industry. I just leverage
fully in the industry and you sell houses.
I sell a lot of houses. I sell F&I. I do. So I can give you my background. You want me to?
Yeah. Go ahead. Dive in.
Okay. All right. So yes, my family owns Conicelli Autoplex. You're close. I grew up in the business. I cut my teeth in obviously the auto industry. And my dad always said, he didn't want me to be in it, which I think made me want to do it even more. So I was a lot guy. I took the trash out. I gassed the cars. I shuttle drove. I made phone calls in the internet department as a teenager. I did it all. So when I was 19, I sold cars for a little while. And then I started at Bloomsburg University, where I got a marketing and a business degree. And afterwards, I came back and I was the marketing manager at Conicelli. And like I said, it was only an hour long. So I'll try to sum it up pretty quick. But basically, we implemented a product, like a 5-in-1 product, where it's now everybody sells it. It's dent and ding, interior and exterior, key replacement, windshield, tire and wheel. So we bundled them all together and we sold it at 10%, 20%, 30%, 40%, 50% penetration. And I went over to Automotive Financial Services, and I still work for Automotive Financial Services. And I sold the secret sauce. So we took the product and we took the marketing and we figured out, what worked. And I went to local dealerships, Jack Dell, Frank Carfagno. I'd come see Josh. I'd see every single dealership in the greater Philadelphia region. I banged on the door and, tried to get the keys to their castle and their, the profit centers and F&I and retention brings them back to service. So right now I'm still in charge of, training and implementing our F&I products, our ancillary products at Conicelli. And, we actually have a couple cool products coming out pretty soon. So I do sell a lot of real estate, but I'm also very heavily into the car industry as well. I market myself on social media, mainly real estate. But yes, like I said, today I spent a full day at the dealership and we're a whole bunch of different hats. So
anyway. So question on that. You are married. That is important.
Oh yeah. I got a beautiful wife, Katie, and Kylie is almost 3 years old. She's 2 years and 10 months. And then Michael is 9 months old. He was born November 3rd and she was November 3rd and he was November 26th. 2 years apart.
We got the same birthday.
Oh yeah. Which one?
Yeah. November 26th.
Oh, cool. Yep. Michael the 3rd.
Yeah.
He's he'll be one. Yep.
So how do you manage all that, right? You have his family, you have real estate and the auto group.
It's hard.
How do you manage it?
You got to balance. And, so what happened was I'm in the auto industry. We're selling this product. It's going great. It's going too great. And again, this is why I said I want to give too much away, right? But basically, Goldman Sachs bought the product and partnered with Toyota and Honda and Hyundai and Nissan and Ford and all these different deals. So my competitor became the manufacturer. So I would go in and I would, go into 100 dealerships and somebody would say, yes, come do your thing. And we'd market the product and we train. And then the manufacturer would come in and say, hey, we'll buy deeper. We'll give you, we'll give you this, we'll give you that. So it was very cutthroat. And when the pandemic happened, I always wanted to get into real estate, but I don't know if Josh is familiar with the term golden handcuffs. Does that ring it? You know what that means?
Yeah.
Once you're in, you can't get out, especially when you're family dealership. So I'm working my butt off, doing all the car stuff, and really didn't think I had time because it's a lot of work to get into a different career. Well, the pandemic happened, the dealerships closed for a month. So I remember it was Easter, and I remember being 6 feet away from my dad. We had to be 6 feet apart and we're outside. And I remember talking about real estate, and it's like, why don't you get your real estate license? I said, I always kind of wanted to. Maybe now is the perfect time. And the next day I woke up at 5 a.m. and I did the first course. And then the next day I did the second course at 5 a.m. And then I was possessed to finish the course at 75 hours. And I did it in 27 days. And the problem was during the pandemic, the test center was closed. So I had to maintain that information for about 3 months. I'm sorry, 3 months. And I remember I was at 422 Nissan. I looked across the street and I saw a Keller Williams sign. And I was like, I'm going to go over there. That's where I work now. I was told that Keller Williams is God, family, and business. And now they take a little more safe route. They say faith, family, and real estate. That's their new term. But before it was God, family, and business. I like that. And, I'm told that they're the best tech and the best training company out there. So I saw that I was 7 minutes from my house. And I walked over there and I said, I work here now. So I started as an individual agent. Tom McCouch, one of my brokers. I have Trez Brittingham and Tom McCouch, the best brokers out there. I got really lucky, picking the right place. And he was my mentor, and I just immediately sold a lot of houses. And within a year, I was sitting at I was in a sales meeting at a car dealership, and my phone rings, and they're like, this is important. So I stepped outside, and they said, hey, you won an award for the best rookie in the greater Philadelphia region out of 11,000 people. Can you come to Cherry Hill tonight and accept your award? So anyway, since then I started a team, and like I said, Josh is on the team, but he's got a lot of responsibilities as it is at the car dealership itself. But I have a couple other car people on the team too. John Gerber, he runs Tri-County Jeep Dodge Chrysler. We have Jim Phillips. He used to be an owner of Tri-County. Melissa Muir, her husband, is the vice president of Car Shop, which used to be Car Sense. If you ever heard of them, they're huge. Yep. So we're basically a real estate team that, all car people. I feel like it's like a dealership that sells houses.
Right.
So, anyway.
So Mike, I got a quick question for you, just because I've got a corporate job. I've got a business. We also have, my wife and I have a 16-month-old actually after last week.
Oh, that's awesome.
Wild. But my question is around time management. Is that something that you were keen to prior to, throwing everything on your plate? Or is that something that you had to kind of learn throughout the process as you, got your license and as you started working into the real estate industry and then, having kids? Or was it like you were always on the ball, prior to everything happening?
When I started studying, I realized it was my passion. And I said, this is it. I want to do this. Now, my whole family's in the car business. And I flipped the script and I went for help. It's the same concept, just I'm selling a different product. And nobody in my family does this. So that's where, Hammond Homes, my dad has 60 plus first cousins. We got a lot of Hammonds out there. We got a lot of, I got Italians. We have a ton of family members. So, advertising, marketing, selling them all cars and them all trusting us because we always do the best job we can and always, help out friends and family and referrals. It was tough at first. I mean, I didn't have kids when I started, but I was getting married. So the pandemic's going on. I'm switching careers, and I didn't think I was going back to the car industry. I thought I was going 100 miles an hour that way. But luckily, I was able to work out something with my boss, Kara Hafer, and I'm still able to manage working with dealerships that I want to work with. So there's a couple of dealerships that I work with, one being Conticelli, and I'm able to do that, but I have leverage. So I have a phenomenal director of operations, Joanne Lewis. I have a team manager, Melissa Bacani. We have a listing specialist, Melissa Muir. So I have scaled myself in the auto industry. There's some people that I was able to relinquish some of my duties that way. As far as real estate, I'm scaling myself because I can only do so much. And one thing, Josh, this might be news to you, but I'm starting a mortgage and a commercial business. So we got a lot of commercial deals that are in the pipeline right now, and I'm starting a lending as well. So to do that, you have to scale. So health, you have to balance health, family, and business. Those are the three things that I think are super important. So it's tough, but I think as time goes on, I'm learning to leverage things a little more and more and more. And this thing right here is my lifeline. I'm on it too much. That's the problem. So I got to learn to put it down. But the one thing is that when somebody calls or somebody texts, I answer pretty quick. And that's a huge thing in both industries, is getting back to, clients. So anyway.
Mike, I want to take a step back. So wait, you joined the real estate industry in probably the craziest fucking time to join, right? Back in 2020. I bought my first house down here in Florida in 21. I just remember 50 to 60 people lined up, and this was probably 10, 20 homes we were looking at, right? So, I mean, what was the playbook, you being newer into that industry? Because I'd imagine it's not like any playbook any of your mentors or any other realtors would have given you. So what advice were you given just starting out? Or, I mean, like, how did you really get off the ground? I guess is what I'm asking back then.
I don't want to offend my real estate family. I have 300 people in my office, and I love a lot of them. And I will say that the one thing that I brought from the car industry is that I can negotiate and I can sell better than anybody in that office. Anybody out there. I think 92% of realtors don't know how to negotiate, don't know how to sell, don't know how to market, So I came in, I ran them all over. So that's what I did. So same thing. That's why I hire car people, and I don't take from the dealership because, I respect my family's business and all. But the reason why my dad didn't originally want me to get into the business is because you have to be at the car dealership from 9 a.m. until 9 p.m. I call it a half day. I'm working a half day today. You're literally working half of a day when you're there. But you don't usually end at 9. You usually get a client at 8:50 that comes in, then you leave the dealership at 11:30. And I realized once I found my wife that we were, she was my girlfriend, my fiance. I knew that I didn't want to be at a dealership 12 hours a day. And I want to be wherever I want to be, wherever I am. That I could be in Aruba, I could be anywhere I want. As long as I have this thing, I can work, and that's great. So being present is something that I'm working on, but I'm physically always wherever I want to be, and it's a great thing to have that. And but that's what I'm saying is that the reason I have people in the car industry is because I relate and because I know all these people. I pounded the pavement. And I cut my teeth in this industry. I would show up, knock on the door, ask the receptionist to talk to the decision maker. And a lot of times that didn't happen. But I got to know a lot of people by just walking in dealerships and trying to sell something to somebody. So with that, I know that the auto industry teaches how to negotiate, how to sell, how to be an animal. And I think that's one thing that the real estate industry lacks. And that's why I think I came in, just ran everybody over, because my work ethics are better than everybody else's. My negotiation, my sales, all that, I have the passion to just be the best. And that's what
And break down your team dynamic, because I feel like you built a team that's a little bit different than other teams in the real estate market. So when they're asking about time management, they're probably thinking that like you're going to every single closing, you're going to every single showing. Like break down that team dynamic so they can kind of see a full picture of it.
So for instance, I just told you, Joanne Lewis is the director of operations for the team, and she likes going to the settlements, and so she usually goes to settlements and walkthroughs and everything. So me leveraging myself, if I don't have to be there, I could be the phone guy. It's I don't really I'm not really there in the physical. I mean, showing houses, I more so transitioned into, before I did everything. When I started out the first 2 years, I just did absolutely everything. And I mean, I'll drop a little. My brother passed away my first year that I was in real estate. So instead of laying in bed and crying and being upset, I just worked and I worked and I worked and I didn't stop working. I didn't think, because I just worked all the time. So that was my coping mechanism, was working. So that was part of the thing, was that I wanted this to be my legacy. Hammond Homes, I want that to be my legacy. And with my brother passing and him eventually taking over the dealerships, I mean, he expressed that he had a passion for real estate. But again, when was the time to be able to, like you said, Josh, it's hard for you to do real estate because you're so involved in the dealership. So trying to do both, that's insane. So I can't be everywhere. So I leverage myself. So at the dealership or at real estate, anything that I can leverage, I do so. But I'm very hands-on. As far as the buyers, I pay for Zillow. We have Redfin, Homes.com, Realtor.com. And when the buyers come in, my team manager, Melissa Bacani, she distributes leads to our team members, and they get the leads based on their availabilities. Like real estate right now is, as Gary Keller said, that owns Keller Williams. I was at Mega Camp in Austin last week, and he said, this is probably rock bottom for real estate. Now, this is rock bottom, and I have 27 listings out right now and over 20 buyers. I mean, that doesn't sound like rock bottom, but we're running 150 miles an hour. So a lot of people right now are hurting in the industry. And I don't know if you guys heard of this new NAR lawsuit, but it's crazy. it's a really
lawsuit.
So basically, hey, I went to Mega Camp, I went to Austin. They barely touched on it because of liability issues. So I'm definitely not. So basically, in a nutshell, it's being as transparent as possible in the real estate industry. So you can't call it buyers commissions anymore. It's buyers concessions. There's a lot. It's so strict right now. And Josh, I think you saw today with your buy sell how much change is coming.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So it just started on Saturday, and Bright MLS is coming in on Wednesday. So I'm on a recorded line. I don't want to say too much, but it's basically if you guys remember, the CFPB was backed by the DOJ, the District of Justice, in 2008. It's very, very similar to that. I don't know if you guys knew what happened then, but basically Pennsylvania is the most compliant state in the country, or one of the most compliant states. And some people in the Midwest did things that they shouldn't have done. And now the whole country is having to completely change the way they do business. And I think it's going to benefit somebody like me and Josh, because now every step of the way you got to negotiate. You can't be one dimensional. You have to move numbers around. Another thing that we learned in the auto industry is moving numbers around, negotiating. And that's exactly what this is. So I was made for this new market, but there's a lot of changes that are here that are coming. And it literally started August 17th, which was 2 days ago. So, so we're still in the process of seeing what is to come, but there's a lot of new forms. There's a lot of just walking a straight line and doing the right thing every time, which is what you're supposed to do anyway. So I won't have a problem with it because that's what I do. But anyway.
So question for you real fast. When your energy is insane, right?
And it's 9:30 at night. My kids wake me up at 5:30 in the morning. So you should see me during the day.
Mike is
I can only imagine how you
winding
are.
down.
5:30 in the morning.
I'm winding down right
5:30 in the morning. He's texting in the group message.
I'm going ham. Yeah, I'm going ham. That's my thing. Hammond, go ham. Go ham for your real estate needs. I used to go ham and go to bars with my friends. Now I sell houses and cars.
So you change with the going ham. It is, right?
I changed. Yeah.
So the question I have is this, man. The mindset. Very few people have the mindset you have. You look like a damn lion 24/7. That mindset is rare, right? And how you carry yourself, how you move, how you attack things with the tenacity you attack it. Where did that come from? Was that something your father passed into you? Or that something that you always had?
Yes, I was blessed to grow up. He's probably going to listen to this, but he's the best negotiator, the best salesman, best marketer I know. And Josh knows him a little bit.
Yeah, I actually just talked to him earlier today.
They do?
Yeah.
So I grew up listening to his phone calls, listening to him negotiate, listening to him sell. I had an unbelievable mentor my whole life, and a lot of support, a lot of knowledge. I mean, everything came from what I learned from him. I'm going to give him, like I said, now I'm in a great brokerage. Trez Brittingham is unbelievable. Tom McCouch was my mentor in real estate. But as far as sales, negotiating, marketing, I'm always marketing. I'm always selling. I'm always negotiating. And him being the best negotiator I know, I'm sitting in the car for 2.5 hours driving to the shore. I'm listening to his phone calls. I mean, I got that benefit. A lot of people didn't have that. So I'm wired like, I was Tarzan. I was brought up in this industry. I was born in the finance office. I'm just kidding. I wasn't, but I was born into this business. And, my dad started in like 1983-ish, 84 in the car industry. And he was the youngest manager. I think he was 21 when I think Josh was pretty young being a Lexus GSM. My dad was 21 running a Toyota store. So that's pretty young. 21. I was in Bloomsburg drinking in somebody's basement, but but I guess things were a little different. But yeah, no, he was a great influence in my business career and always guides me. I call him, he's not in real estate, but he flips houses. He flipped a lot, 23 houses during the pandemic, and real estate was just going like this. It was just going up. So things were going pretty good. Right now, the industry changed a little bit, and but there were some good times for like 2.5 years, and that's why I have my Jersey license too. And I actually almost have my Florida license, but I don't live in Florida, and if I can't show somebody a house, I feel like I can't represent them, and therefore, instead of me being the realtor, I'm going to refer them to somebody else. So I'm part of Keller Williams Sports Entertainment, and it's like Skull and Bones, but for real estate. No, it's basically like the top 1% of realtors qualify. You have to qualify. You have to be in the top 1% of real estate, and then you're in KW Sports Entertainment. And if there's athletes that move to the area, you get notified, and then you help themselves. You help them with houses. Yeah, so if I get somebody and I see Kenny, you're from Florida. The Florida man. If somebody wants to buy a house in Florida, I'm going to refer them. One of my best friends lives in Florida, and he's a broker down there. Or I'll refer them to somebody. I mean, there's a difference between Miami and Tampa and Jacksonville and whatever. So Florida's a big spot, and there's like 20 different MLSs. So wherever somebody's looking, I'm going to refer them to the best person there. And I feel like it's not fair if I took them being in Pennsylvania. So I decided not to get my Florida license, but I'm always in Jersey. So between PA and Jersey, I sell houses. So
talk about
COVID. Go ahead.
The median home buyer I saw is 35 years old. And just a couple of years ago, I think that number was around 28 or 29. So that number is creeping up. Affordability is an issue right now. Rates are what? You know better than me. Rates are somewhere in the sevens. I mean, just what advice would you give a first-time home buyer that's maybe potentially waited to buy their first house, or maybe they're sitting on a large pile of cash and they're like, hey, I'm just going to wait until rates drop until they're 4%? Or what would you say to a home buyer right now that's sitting on a couple $100,000 worth of cash looking to buy?
Well, if you rent, it's 100% interest, right?
Yeah.
So you're just throwing money out the window if you're renting. I think I bought a house at 24, so I'm not telling you to do anything that I didn't personally do. Right now, interest rates are low sixes, which isn't bad. Historically, we're about average overall. I think that 2.7, 2.9% interest rate is long gone. And the only way we'll see that again is if World War III happens or some catastrophe happens that we don't want to happen. So we do not want to ever see 3% interest rates ever again. Right now, if you buy a house, you'll get a good deal because, I'll tell you the last 2 years, if I listed a house and it lasted more than 4 days, my hands start shaking. I'm like, what am I doing wrong? Should I turn my license in? Do I suck? Like, what's going on here? But now the average house is sitting 30 to 70 days. And that was taken 70 days ago. So now I think it's more like 100 days. And people just can't grasp that. And so my pitch is way different. Listen, I'm working with homes.com. I'm personally, and I have the data to prove it, I'm spending a lot of money on marketing and advertising, and my marketing is about 40 to 50 times the average realtor because of how much money I'm pumping into advertising and marketing. So right now, you play red light, green light. Right now, things are bad, red light. Well, what I learned in 2008 was when things got bad and everybody pumped the brakes, my family ran 100 miles an hour. They advertised, they marketed, and they became the number one volume dealership in the state of Pennsylvania. And we've been that ever since. I mean, some of the stores got second here and there, but overall, we took first almost every single time. And we didn't do that by accident. We did it by having the balls to market and advertise when everybody else was scared. I'm doing the same thing. Right now, everybody's scared. I'm the number one Zillow. I'm the top Zillow agent in the area. I'm the top realtor.com person in the area. We have Redfin. You only qualify for Redfin if you have a big, powerful team. And I have homes.com, which I'm spending a lot of money on, but it's worth it because they're pumping advertising. My team member was on ESPN. Dan Visnoff was on ESPN today, and he sees my face and one of my listings at the top of the screen. He's like, we made it. This is it. This is all. I'm like, well, I spent a lot of money, but I spent a lot of money. I don't know if I should advertise that. I said to my dad, I said, I'm the top Zillow agent in the area. He goes, that's really good. How'd you do that? I said, I was willing to spend more money than anybody else in the area, but I'm doing that because I know that I have a powerful team behind me that is going to be able to take these leads and work them to the bone. And, from, contact to contract is like 5 months or 6 months. So if somebody takes a call and they don't answer, you got to follow up. You got to put them on an auto drip. You have to leave voicemails. You have to leave texts. You have to try. People want you to, follow up. Otherwise, you're wasting the lead. I mean, you have a $600, $700 Zillow lead come in. You better call them a couple times, until they say, hey, stop calling me,
Facts.
or they buy a house, which, we just sold a $1.45 million house last week from a Zillow lead. I mean, it's working. But a lot of people say, oh, Zillow doesn't work. Well, those are the people that aren't good at converting. So if you're good at converting, it's good. So, I think I'm blessed to have great people surrounding me, and things are going pretty well in both industries. So, any other questions? Is there?
Yeah, no, hella questions, but I only keep asking. I will though. You
go ahead.
All right,
go
cool.
ahead.
No. So I think on that same topic, and so you were saying earlier that we probably never going to see low threes ever again, right? Mm-hmm. Unless something crazy happens. I obviously don't want that to happen. So a lot of folks who truthfully don't have the resources to buy a home in this current economy right now. All right. So what are some, I don't know, traditional ways for folks to be able to purchase homes. Luckily, all three of us, well, all of us, we own homes now. But it's a lot of folks who can't purchase a home. All right. What are some ways folks can get their foot in, just try to get in a way to leverage some kind of resources or tools to buy a home?
I mean, I can tell you that you can lease to buy, but that's not true. I mean, in this market, that's not happening. I've never seen it. I haven't seen it in the last 4 years that I've been in this industry. Right now it's an even playing field. And I think that if the interest rates drop, I think the buyers are going to come swarming. So right now is a good time to buy a house. And there's a gimmick that we say, it's date the house, marry the rate. What is it? Marry the house, date the rate. Marry the house, date the rate. That's what it is. So what that means in a non-gimmick, basically you buy the house and then you refinance later. And that's, but here's the thing, right now that the interest rates are at 6, I would say you can get a pretty decent deal on the house. But once it goes in the 5s, I think people are going to drive the price back up again. That's what's going to happen. They're going to drive the price back up again. So do you want to compete against other people? So when I had these realtor.com leads, hi, my name is Michael Hammond. Do you want to go 50,000 over list and waive inspection and give up your firstborn to get this house? No. So like the good thing is that I have these leads and I think they're really good now because the people that are clicking buttons that are interested in buying are ones that aren't scared. So if I say hey, it's tough. I told you I bought a house when I was 24 at 4.5% interest rate. Right now, it's the most unaffordable time in U.S. history. So I'm not going to BS you and tell you that you're 24, 25, 26, you can buy a house. Like if you save up, I'll help you and try to get you in a place. And right now you can get a fair value on a house based on like prices aren't going down. They're probably going to go up about like 5 or 10% in the next year. But what we saw the last 5 years was houses doubled in price. I mean, a $300,000 house is $600,000 now. It's insane. So unfortunately, it's very hard for people in their 20. I was at I saw Tony Robbins in Vegas 6 months ago, and he said, we look at these millennials like they're idiots, and that's how they looked at the generation in the 20s and 30s and stuff, and then they became the greatest generation of all time. They're predicting that these 20 young 30 kids haven't experienced that hard of times, and they are going to. And I'm not going to, like I said, I'm not going to say, oh yeah, come on in and buy a house as a first time home buyer. It's really hard to buy a first time house in this type of environment. I mean, you're competing against anything under 300,000 I live in Montgomery County. Anything under 300,000, people are just buying 2 seconds. So now what do you have to buy? A $400,000, $500,000 house? You better be making $100,000 a year. You better have a good job. So, that's why I go to the dealership. Conticelli has 650 employees. I show up, I hand them my business card. It's not a car business card. It's a real estate business card. It says go ham for your real estate needs on it. And I say, if you have claim issues, call me. And by the way, if you need to buy a house, let me know. But I'm not one to BS anybody. Yes, it's a very difficult time for somebody that's in their mid to 20s to buy a house right now. It is. That's the truth of the matter. You got to have some capital. You got to have some balls. If you waive inspection, maybe you can do a walk and talk on the, I have walk and talk guys, girls, whatever, that will come on the showing with you. And I say to the client or to the listing agent, hey, can we bring somebody to check everything out to make sure that everything looks good? And because if you have inspections, that's a contingency that people don't want to take if they don't have to, and it's very tough to say that, if you're at a house and there's, an open house and there's 20 people there and you think that there's probably going to be 6, 7, 8 offers, chances are 90% of them are going to be waiving inspection. So I say, listen, it's your wallet. It's you decide what you want to do. But based off what I'm saying, the less contingencies, the better. Here's a warranty. So I'm in the auto industry. I sell on the warranty aspect. If you're going to decide to do that, I never tell them to do it. I'm not going to take on that liability. They have to decide for themselves what they want to do. But this market's so aggressive that you have to be aggressive in order to get a house. And how do you be aggressive? You're fresh out of college. You just started your first job and you don't have much capital. I mean, yeah, it's very difficult time for first-time home buyers. So not going to sugarcoat it. So
how's the Northeast, would you say, versus, because all of our listeners are kind of spread out here. Most of them are probably in the Northeast, some in, down south. DeMichael lives in Atlanta. Brandon lives in Nashville. I'm down here in Florida. And the South has just gotten pummeled, right? I mean, talking about home values, it's been crazy. So do you think the Northeast recovers a little bit quicker, or is it more attainable to buy a house up there? Or you think it's just all over the board? Still kind of, like you said, rates dip a little bit into the fives and just buyers everywhere again.
Well, who got pummeled? Because if you own a house and your house doubled, you can get pummeled. You just hit the lottery.
Well, I guess right? Yeah.
So you hit the lottery. I mean, my buddy down in Florida, his house, he bought his house for $700, and then he turned around, he listed his neighbor's house for 1.8 the other day. So he didn't get pummeled. And that was just a couple years, So they say, when's the best time to buy a house? Kenny, when's the best time to buy a house? Yesterday, right?
Yeah.
I mean, real estate goes up. So when people say, oh my God, I can't believe the price of these houses, they're not going down. They're going to keep going up. They're just going to keep going up. And it's not what something's worth. It's what somebody's willing to pay. That's the thing. So interest rates drop. And then we have an election coming up. No, I'm not. Definitely not going to get into politics. As a salesperson, I never get into politics. But with the election coming up, what happens? Interest rates are going to drop very soon. And when interest rates drop, they're going to. I saw something the other day on a $500,000 house. This time a month and a half ago, your average monthly payment would be $256 cheaper right now than a month and a half ago. What I think is going to happen in the next couple months, the election's coming, they get pretty aggressive on making the economy as good as possible. Interest rates are going to go in the fives, and the house prices are going to go up because people are going to keep overpaying. And then there's going to be comps for that overpayment. And then those comps are going to be the new appraisal. And then they're just going to keep going up. So I think that's where it's at. So if you want to get in, you should get in now if you can. And the only way to do that is call me up and 484-429-3833 or call Josh and we'll get you pre-approved. So we'll put all the ducks in a row. We'll put everything together. And I work with Scott Sciarra, the Hussey team, Vicky Kammer. Those are my preferred lenders that I absolutely love. And, we will see what you qualify for. Not only what you qualify for, but what you're comfortable paying. So if you qualify for $500,000 or $400,000, if it comes out that your payments are $3,000 a month and you say you can't afford it, then that's not it. Then you got to come down. So that's what we do. We do it in reverse. We find out what you are comfortable paying, and then at that number, we find out what the house is. But then tax is a thing too. So if your taxes are $6,000 or $20,000, that's going to be a big factor in your purchase as well. So it matters by like where we live. I'm in the suburbs. I sell mostly in the suburbs. I was selling a lot of investment properties in Philadelphia, and it's a whole different animal in the city than compared to the suburbs. So
how so different?
I don't know if that's something I should probably get in. There's a lot of wholesalers, and what I come to find in like Philadelphia is, and again, I don't want to put a negative thing on it, but you learn from things. So some people contact you and they say they want to write up a dual agreement, dual agency, and they want you to write the contract up. They're trying to sell the contract. A lot of people in the city, they try to go under contract, and then they have to put their deposit in within 5 days. And within those 5 days, they try to sell the contract, and they don't, they ghost you. So
they usually make like 10 grand on it.
I dealt with a lot of that in the city of Philadelphia, and I learned how to get around that. I say on page 14, this contract is not active until the deposit is received. And that's usually when I don't hear from the client again if they're a wholesaler. So wholesaling is not a horrible thing, but some people use it to do horrible things. So you just got to be a little more, on edge. But in the suburbs, I feel like it's that kind of thing doesn't really happen as much. So
I got you. I like that. Now, so real quick question for you. I'm gonna bring up something we discussed on the previous episode. Josh loves this topic around it, but I'm gonna do it because you mentioned something earlier, and you was going through your background. All right, we talked about nepotism in the previous episode that we had, and we asked the question, would you start your kid in a high position or somewhere lower, et cetera, et cetera? You said you started off by cleaning the dealership. You did the keys, such and such. You did every single role in the dealership to eventually end up running the dealership, right? And do you feel like you were better off from that by having to grind and work from it? Or do you feel like if your dad put you in a GM role off the spot with no other kind of work under it, you'll be where you are right now, mindset-wise, life-wise, all that? Do you think you would be in the same place if you were just given something versus you worked to where you are now?
Man, the way he catered that question. Go ahead, Mike.
When I started working at Constelli Autoplex, I was given a sheet to fill out, and I had to fill it all out, just like everybody else, an application, fill it out. And then I had an interview with my dad, and he made me go back outside and spit my gum out. And then I came back in, and I interviewed with my dad. He interviewed me to see if I was qualified to work at the dealership. I was not raised with any nepotism or any kind of thing. I had to work harder than anybody else out there. I had to be I had to, by example, I had to show that I was the hardest working person at the dealership. And I always was. I remember that day I had to go to the bathroom and I had to shave my face because he didn't like facial hair. I went in the bathroom and I got the razor out of my car. He said, "We don't like the facial." This was years ago, and now facial hair is acceptable. But
back in the day, though,
back in the day, he came in, he read my application, he read my resume. I was not treated with privilege at all, and thank God that he did that, because I didn't feel privileged. I worked for everything that I have. I work harder in the real estate industry than anybody I know. Trez Brittingham, she works really hard as well, and I want to give her credit. But I work around the clock. I need to learn how to not work as much as I do because I work too much. In the car industry, I work for everything that I have, and thank God that I have the work ethics that I have. And these millennials, again, I'm stepping out where I want, I'm not always the fan favorite, but I'm always honest. These millennials, they don't know how to work. I feel blessed that I was able to be part of social media, because I have over 1 million people that follow me on social media. And on top of that, I know how to grind the streets. So to be able to do both, to be able to have old school work ethics and new school work ethics, are something that I'm blessed to be able to be a part of. So yes, I started off by taking out the trash. I gassed cars. I ran back and forth to Ridge Pike. You guys don't know. And I worked my butt off as a lot guy. I worked my butt off as, when I was doing the marketing, managing, I sold used cars online. Like I grinded and I worked as hard as I can. And thank God that I was brought up with the work ethics that I have, but I work harder than anybody I know. And
so the reason why he brought that up is because in the previous episode, we were talking about the Lakers and LeBron giving, obviously, persuading
about his son. And I respect his son. He could just sit back and play video games. He plays a lot of video games from my understanding, but I respect I know where you're getting, because if you look at my Facebook post a couple of days ago, I posted, I respect his son for doing what he could have had a lavish life. He chose to work his butt off and get into the NBA. Yeah, did he have a little bit of, yeah, of course. His dad's LeBron James. But I feel, and again, I'm not going to compare myself, whatever, but I know that wasn't an option for we are brought up. I was brought up to work really hard. And now I'm starting to learn how to work smart, but I worked hard my whole life. And I'm proud of that. And I'm still working hard. And like I said, I'm trying to work less hard because I want to have more balance for, my family. And that was the whole point of real estate, is that I don't want to grind. I don't want to run the dealership. I don't want that responsibility. I want to run Hammond Homes, and I want to leverage it. I want to do it my way. And that's how I was brought up. My whole family, my dad, but also my mom, my stepmom, everybody taught me to, be a genuine person, be a good person, always do the right thing, and work really hard, and you'll get lucky. The harder you work, the luckier you get, right? And that's the thing. So yeah, that was never a thing for any of us, and I'm very appreciative that was the case. So
there we go. So Josh, he kind of agreed with my point there, And
no, I respect the heck out of little Bronny over there, because he had a heart issue. His heart was,
you're doubling down right now.
I'm not a hater. I wish the best on everybody, and somebody that works hard. I mean, here's the thing: should he be on the Lakers? Probably not, if his dad wasn't LeBron. But at the same time, he was brought up with a silver spoon in his mouth, and he still wanted to pursue his dreams. And that's the same thing, is that, like, some people in that position could just sit back, kick back, and just enjoy the good life. But you want to stand for a purpose. And like you said, I have a purpose. I got this freaking logo right here. That's my legacy. Do I want my kids, and I'm going to have to instill the same values that was instilled in me. And it's really hard because everything my daughter wants, she gets like that. So I have to learn to say no, or to try to, but I think that the best thing you do is, no matter what position you're in, if you're in a position where you're successful, you have to instill values to your children and then have them do the same. So I feel like my brother, when he worked, I mean, the two hardest working people were me and my brother. And like I said, when I was in the automotive financial services, grind the streets and all that stuff, it's a different feeling when it's my own name on it. Nobody's going to work harder than me on my team, because it's my name, it's my brand, it's my thing. And I know that everybody that we help, I want to make sure that they're being helped with the best possible, scenario, where I want to be involved in every single deal, because I want to make sure that they're getting the right, treatment that they should be getting, the right carpet treatment every time. And that's the thing. Same thing with my dad. My dad, he comes, when a family member comes to Nissan, he goes to Nissan, and he, from start to finish, he's there, and he watches. That's the work. That's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to help your friends and family referral. I'm there every step of the way. If somebody is referred to me, I might give it to a team member, but I'm texting, hey, what's going on? How can I? So you don't just get one, you get me too, every single deal. So I'm very hands-on, and I feel like, I don't want to micromanage anybody, but at the same time, I want to make sure that everybody's being treated proper, with the red carpet. If you're working with Hammond Homes, you got the red carpet treatment every time.
So Mike, I always ask this question: in 10 years, where do you see yourself?
In 10 years, well, I want to have the biggest, baddest real estate team in Montgomery County, and I'm already pretty close. I think I'm getting there, or I might be there. But I want to be humbling. I don't want to just be whatever. But our volume, I mean, we're going to sell in 2025. We're going to sell between 150 and 200 houses. I mean, that's pretty good. If I can continue doing that, if I can keep, building a strong team. Here's the thing. I don't want to just hire anybody. The people that are on the team right now, I love everybody on the team. I love everybody. I like everyone. I love everybody on the team. I trust everyone on the team. I know that they're representing my name and my brand and whatever in the best way. And I'm just so happy to have that going forward. The hiring process is me, Melissa, Joanne, everybody. It has to feel like a family. I mean, every day we talk, and Josh, you're part of that. You see, we genuinely like each other a lot, and I want to keep growing such a strong team. But I'm being, at this point, I'm being very selective who comes on, because again, they're representing the brand. And as far as the dealership, we have 650 employees at Condicelli. It's hard to, there's a lot of craziness that goes on. Now, like I said, with the real estate, right now we have 13 people, and as we grow, it's going to be a good strategy. It's going to be because they're a great fit for the team. If I add somebody to the team, I want to make sure that nobody loses any of their leads or any of their stuff. So going forward, I'm going to strategically hire and just grow and get stronger and stronger and stronger. And yeah, I want to be, a team to be reckoned with, one of the most powerful teams in the area, which we kind of already are. So
okay, so you already there. So beyond that, in 10 years, you should be running the whole damn state then.
I mean, I'm concentrating on the hyper local market. I also, sell down the shore. I have a Pocono division, so we have that going on. So, I want to grow, but as I told you, I'm opening up commercial. We have mortgage going. So as time goes on, I want to be quality, not quantity. A lot of people hire everyone, and then if it doesn't work out, I don't want to do that. I want to focus on, and it gives me great joy to see somebody start off and like mentor them and learn and grow and, become a successful agent. Like I was just saying, Dan Visnoff, he started off, he's 27 years old. He's started off, wet behind the ears, and now he's like a great agent, and it's awesome to see him like grow and like really start kicking ass. And I get great enjoyment out of that. So I want my business to grow. I want to maintain the auto business. Right now we have a couple products, and I have my face on, I'm marketing one of them. I don't want to get too much into it. It's such a cutthroat business, but we have some good stuff going on behind the scenes in the auto industry, in real estate. I want to bring F&I to real estate. I've been trying since day one to bring an F&I type world. And maybe Josh, maybe you can help me out with that. But I think that an F&I type environment now, real estate's a lot different than the auto industry because there's a lot of restrictions and different things. And that's where every step of the way, I kind of got obstacles, a lot more obstacles than I do in the auto industry. But because I have that ancillary F&I brain and the real estate world, a lot of people don't have that. So I'm trying to incorporate a lot of stuff in the auto industry into real estate. So I'm going to keep working on that. As far as balancing my health and my family, I mean, that's super important to me. We're planning on having a third kid at some point. So, it's, I don't know if you guys all have, I know you said you have, kids are tough. They're a lot of work. So, I just want to keep growing, getting, quality realtors that I want to work with that are plugging in, that are doing the right thing, that are representing, the brand well. And like I said, I want to be there for every sports game. I want to be there for every dance recital. I want to be there for everything. So, and I also want to be able to, work out every day and be able to eat healthy. And so it's a lot to do, but it's all about balance. And I think in the next 10 years, I want to be better and better and better each year is probably the best thing. Yeah. Do I want to be the best in the state? Yeah, of course I want to be the best in the state, but I got to have a plan to get there. And the plan is, it's not a 100-yard dash. It's a marathon. So in 10 years, yeah, I would love to be one of the best in the state, and it's not an unrealistic goal.
You will be. We're going to speak that resistance right
Mike,
now.
I got one last question for you, and then we could probably move towards wrapping it up. But if you were to say, give one piece of advice for maybe that person that's, in the job that they don't necessarily like, but, they have their passion. So coming from how you follow your passion into real estate, like what is the one piece of advice that you'd get to someone that's kind of on the fence about jumping into their passion, their passion job, their passion career, if you will, and really throwing everything on the line to, go all in and make that work?
I mean, I could say, just do it, just jump off the deep end and just go and just go. But that's not realistic. I mean, when I went into real estate, I thought the auto industry, now again, something I put my whole life into, the fear of the unknown. I didn't know what was going to come next, but I did it. I ran 100 miles an hour and went for it. And it's scary. It's a very crazy thing to do. And I think if you're passionate about something, you'll regret not doing it. You should do it, but you can't give up your bread and butter. So it matters by where you're at in life. If you're living at home with your parents and you can afford to do real estate, because here's the real estate. You have to take a 75-hour course, and then you have to take a really hard test. And then after you're done, you have to realize how real estate actually works, because the course is nothing like actual real estate. So you need a good year or 2 years. Like I said, Dan studied for real estate, got in whatever, and he's a young kid. And I said, go to every single class, take every single thing. I couldn't do that. I had a wedding that was coming up. I was planning on having children. I was changing an industry when I was a lunatic. I was an absolute lunatic for what I was doing. But I was able, like I said, I was able to figure out how to do both. But I was thinking I was going in real estate. Like, there was a guy, I sat down and we did an exercise, and he said, how much do you want to make this year? I said, well, I can't make less than 200. And he said, well, that's not very realistic. Why don't we pick a realistic number? I said, well, that is a realistic number, because I have to make 200 grand or else I can't do this, or else this isn't going to happen. And he said, okay, whatever. And I think I made that the first quarter. But the thing is that, I believed in myself, and I knew I was possessed. I had a passion. I had an opportunity, and I went for it. And unless you have that passion, you can't do it. Like in the auto industry, I'm good at it. I'm great at it. But my passion is what's written right here. And I'm willing to work every second of every day to be successful. And unless you have that type of mentality, a lot of people don't have passion. If you have, I wanted it more than anything in the world, and I went for it. And I didn't care what was behind me. I just ran and went for it. And I got it. But you got to have a fire up under your ass to do it. And like I said, with my brother passing, I could have went a different way. I could have just laid in bed and, I didn't do that. I had clients, and I told them after, I said, my brother died literally 3 days out. Oh my God, I didn't know. I know, because I went, I was going, I was in my mentor was just, I'm going to be the best at this, and I'm not going to stop until I am. And then I did. So like I said, there's no foot off the brake. I'm still running 100 miles an hour. It's almost 10 o'clock at night, and I got to go to bed because my kids are going to wake me up in the morning. But I'm so passionate about what I do, and I'm so passionate about, like I said, I respect my family's business. I'm going to make sure that I can do the best that I can for them, and leverage myself and make sure that I do my part for what I signed up for. And then as far as the Hammond homes, I'm going to work my butt off, but I'm also going to be the best dad, the best husband I can be as well. So to balance all that, it's a lot of work, but that's what it takes to be, you got to do things that other people aren't willing to do. So if you're willing to put in the time and effort, people can say they want to do it, but unless don't tell me, show me. That's my thing. Don't tell me, show me. I don't want to hear it. Do it. If you do it, then, so if you're passionate about something, stop doing what you're doing and go do it. But if you don't want it more than anything in the entire world, then you're not passionate about it. I want it more than anything in the world to have my own brand, to have my own thing and do it my way. And that's what I did. So
I love that. I love that, man.
I like that.
Hell yeah. So if everybody good on questions? Any more questions? Everybody straight?
Yeah.
All right, go Steelers. We'll end it with that.
Nah, man, it's always Eagles.
Go Eagles. The
always
Phillies are
Bird
dropping
game.
the ball. After the All-Star break, they were like the greatest thing that ever happened. They were like the Bulls back in the day. Like they put up like Golden State Warriors number, and then all of a sudden they haven't won a game. Like, go Eagles. No. Yeah, the Phillies are all right. But we had such high hopes for them this year, and yeah, the Eagles were Eagles and Penn State. That's my thing.
The Phillies not over yet. They just gotta find themselves, man.
they found themselves
Bad
the
slump.
first,
It's a bad
how many
slump.
games they were breaking records left and right, and then now I don't know. I'm looking forward to the Eagles. Florida State. My buddy used to play for Florida State. He was linebacker for Florida State when they won the championship in 2013. So
Yeah.
Florida State's playing on Friday. So I'm looking forward to that. And then Eagles' first game is in Brazil on September 6th. So
Okay.
go Eagles. And come on, Phillies, get back into it.
Hell yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, Mike, we appreciate you. I don't know what happened to D.
He's just spinning right now.
All right, but let's do a cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers, y'all. Appreciate you, Mike.
Appreciate
And
you,
I
Mike.
want to point out Bluebird Distilling in Phoenixville. Jared Atkins.
Oh yeah.
My buddy's place. He put his heart and soul in that place. And cheers, Jared.
All right, let's get it.
All right.
That really matters.